Welcome to the life of a titan whose financial power was so immense that he personally functioned as the central bank of the United States. Long before the Federal Reserve existed, J.P. Morgan wielded enough personal influence and capital to single-handedly bail out the U.S. government from total bankruptcy. Make sure to watch until the very end of the video as we break down the fateful night in 1912, when Morgan narrowly avoided dying aboard his own prized creation, the RMS Titanic, a cancellation that fueled conspiracy theories for over a century. John Piermont Morgan was born in Hartford, Connecticut in 1837 to an environment of wealth and strict discipline. His father, Junius Spencer Morgan, was a prominent international banker who raised J.P. with a singular goal: to build an enduring financial dynasty. Junius controlled every aspect of his son's education, sending him to top schools in Switzerland and the University of Göttingen in Germany, where J.P. became fluent in French and German while mastering advanced mathematics. Despite his privileged upbringing, Morgan's youth was plagued by chronic ill health, including several seizures, skin diseases, and rheumatoid arthritis. His father constantly pressured him to perform, instilling in him an intense work ethic and a deep aversion to financial disorder. When the American Civil War broke out, Morgan avoided military service by paying a substitute $300, a common practice among the wealthy, and instead focused on Wall Street, using his father's London contacts to trade gold and government bonds. By his early 30s, Morgan was already establishing himself as an intimidating force in the financial world. During the late 19th century, the American economy was chaotic, hyper-competitive, and prone to ruinous price wars. Morgan believed that unbridled competition was destructive and inefficient. He pioneered a process that Wall Street dubbed Morganization, buying up competing, struggling companies, particularly in the bloated railroad industry, and consolidating them into massive, highly efficient trusts under his firm's control. If a railroad company wanted funding from J.P. Morgan & Company, they had to surrender operational control, place Morgan's partners on their board of directors, and eliminate aggressive price cutting. Through this strategy, Morgan eventually controlled over 5,000 miles of American railway. In 1901, he pulled off his ultimate financial masterstroke. He bought out Andrew Carnegie's steel empire for $480 million and merged it with several other firms to create U.S. Steel, the world's first billion-dollar corporation. To many, Morgan was an economic savior, bringing order to chaos. To others, he was an unchecked monopolist, crushing free enterprise. By the end of the 19th century, the United States was the world's growing industrial powerhouse, but it lacked a central banking system to manage currency and financial panics. In times of extreme crisis, the United States government didn't turn to a Federal Reserve. It turned to J.P. Morgan. The first major crisis hit in 1895. The U.S. Treasury was running dangerously low on gold reserves, facing imminent bankruptcy that would have collapsed the nation's financial system. Morgan marched into the White House, met with President Grover Cleveland, and informed him of an obscure 1862 law that allowed the Secretary of the Treasury to buy gold without congressional approval. Morgan organized an international syndicate of bankers to supply $65 million in gold to the U.S. government, stabilizing the nation's credit overnight. Even more dramatically, during the Panic of 1907, a massive stock market crash triggered run-on banks across New York. With financial ruin threatening the country, the 70-year-old Morgan locked Wall Street's top banking executives inside his personal library, refusing to give them the key until they pledged tens of millions of dollars to bail out the failing banks. He personally audited books and directed capital until the panic subsided. A single private citizen had held the American economy together by sheer force of will. Through his shipping conglomerate, the International Mercantile Marine, or IMM, Morgan owned the White Star Line, a company that built the RMS Titanic. Morgan had his own luxury suite reserved on the ship's maiden voyage in April of 1912. However, at the last minute, he canceled his trip, citing illness and a desire to remain in France to collect art. When the Titanic struck an iceberg and sank, taking over 1,500 lives, rumors erupted that Morgan had known about structural flaws or had orchestrated the disaster for insurance money, claims that historians have thoroughly debunked as baseless conspiracy theories. While Morgan survived the Titanic, his immense power caused growing alarm among the American public and politicians. In late 1912, he was called to testify before the Pujo Committee, a congressional investigation into the Money Trust, a small clique of Wall Street bankers alleged to control the entire U.S. economy. Under intense questioning, a defiant Morgan insisted that his financial decisions were based on character and trust rather than raw control, famously stating, "The first thing is character, before money or anything else. Money cannot buy it." The grueling public interrogation by Congress took a heavy toll on Morgan's declining health. A few months later, while traveling in Rome, J.P. Morgan passed away in his sleep on March 31, 1913, at the age of 75. In honor of his colossal impact, Wall Street paused trading, and the New York Stock Exchange closed its floor for half a day, a tribute normally reserved exclusively for deceased U.S. presidents. The public shock over how much power a single man had held during the Panic of 1907 directly motivated Congress to pass the Federal Reserve Act in December of 1913, creating a national central banking system so that America would never again depend on one private individual to save its economy. Today, J.P. Morgan is remembered as the ultimate architect of modern American capitalism, an imposing figure who transformed Wall Street from a speculative frontier into the financial engine of the world. Thank you for exploring the life of J.P. Morgan with us. If you want to keep discovering the stories of the masterminds who built the modern world, please subscribe to our channel, hit that like button, and share this video. Let's hear your take in the comments below. Do you think America was fortunate to have a figure like J.P. Morgan to stabilize the economy during its worst panics? Or was it dangerous for one private citizen to hold that much power over a nation? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. We look forward to reading your response.